Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I hope you are doing well. Please confirm that you are able to hear me. Apologies for the technical challenge and the hiccup that we have encountered this afternoon. Please confirm that you are able to hear me. If you can just give me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Moses. I appreciate it. Thank you, team. All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Farida. Right. Welcome, Carissa. Consolata, thank you. Thank you for confirming. Thank you, Bayal. Thank you. So, good afternoon. My name is Juliet Ouma. I am the Programs Assistant at African Pharmaceutical Network. And it's a pleasure to have each and every one of you join us for this industry discussion forum this afternoon, where we will be unpacking pharmacovigilance regulations and requirements in Zambia. And our speaker for this session is going to be Dr. Mulenga, who's going to join us shortly. But in the meantime, I'm also joined here by our Executive Director. His name is Dr. Odhiambo David. He'll also be sharing insights and assisting in moderation of this particular session this evening. So to start us off, would like to know where you're joining us from. And in the meantime, you can also get to introduce yourself on the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, and you can also share your LinkedIn page so that we can also follow you online. All right. Go ahead and introduce yourself on the chat and let us know who you are. And before we get to the presentation, we have a form which would like for you to share a few things on. It's a survey. Would like to know where you're from, why you are joining this particular session. So in the meantime, also join me on this particular Google form where we'll be able to share our responses and get to understand where you're joining this session from. So you can go ahead and scan the QR code that is before your screen. Alternatively, you can click on the link that is also shared on the WhatsApp, on the chat form. So let me stop sharing there for a bit. Okay. The link has been posted on the chat. Okay. So I'm waiting for us to join. You can click on the link. Alternatively, you can scan the QR code that is before your screen. Then we can be able to get your responses. So you can let us know where you are joining us from which country. And we really appreciate you for making time to be in the call with us.
We have two tasks, as Juliet has mentioned, and thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself on the chat, name, organization you're working with, which country you're joining us from, and for connections and to build community as per the network's philosophy and trying to ensure that we engage with people beyond our confines and our scope. Please share your LinkedIn profile link with us so that we can get to connect with you even after the session as we move along. So do that. That is number one in the introduction, just getting to know who you are, where you're joining us from. And then we have the QR code, which is mostly about us getting to know where you're coming from, but most importantly, also knowing your expectation. There will be a couple of slides that are coming in. so that we get to engage with you and see how we can support one another. So for those of you who have started, thank you so much for bringing it up. For those who are yet to, please let's join the QR code. Let's do the work and engage and see where are we from, what are we doing in those places, what are we hoping for today, so that we deliver compelling and actually valuable contribution to you in whatever it is that we're offering today. So yes, I'm waiting on you. Juliet, you can help refresh the count in case there's somebody who has already filled the information.
I will.
It has been seen Kenya and Uganda leading here in the chat, but not on the phone yet. David from Kenya. Thank you, David. Great. James from Namibia. Thank you for joining us, James. Derek from Zambia. Jimmy from Port Harcourt, that's Nigeria. Thank you for joining us all the way from the western side of the continent. Glad to have you here. Felix from Kenya. Good. Six responses. We have 72 people, so I'm expecting to get at least, at the bare minimum, 40 people, 40 responses. So let's come on board. Let's keep at it. Let's keep engaging. Let's keep communicating. Try refreshing again. Let's move to the next one. Farida, please tell us. Yeah, people have already filled the subsequent one, so let's continue. Let's build on it, guys. See, most of us have known us for 1 to 2 years. Okay. Continue. We'll also introduce you to other services and other activities that we do beyond training. So stay hooked, stay tuned. Let's continue engaging. Juliet, we can move to the next one. I'm seeing 15 responses so far. Good. How familiar are you with pharmacovigilance requirements in Zambia? 53% are not familiar at all. 27 somewhat familiar, 20% very familiar. And I'm assuming the 20% are those of us who are joining us from Zambia itself. So we'll have the sense of it, the 53%, we are hoping that at the end of the day, once we're done, you'll have understood so much, more in terms of what you're doing. Great. Juliet, can we move to the next one? 40% lack of information and awareness of regulation. The challenges that you're experiencing is lack of information or awareness of the regulatory requirements, limited resources for pharmacovigilance activities, then we have lack of expertise to develop and maintain PV systems. Others, I would be glad for us to read some of those other comments for the 7%. But it's good to know that there's a lack of awareness, and therefore then now we are addressing those gaps through this session. And hopefully for those of us who don't have that information, you know more by the end of the session today. Let's move to the next one, Juliet. What support would you need to set up an effective PV system in line with your regulatory requirements? I would say quality improvement, expert training, adequate resources, PV and supply chain, risk management. I would look at this more on the training side. So regulatory understanding, I would say that is the critical piece and the training component. So I'll talk to you guys about the training that we offer as well, which will give you more of that. And there's a lack of awareness and qualified staff to build capacity. And that capacity is either in terms of the monitoring and all that. So we'll have these conversations. Great. Juliet, we can move to slide 7. Oh, that was the end of it? Oh, no. We've already started rating it and we're yet to cover. So
Not yet, not yet. That was the end of it.
it's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So great. Thank you so much, everyone. Glad to see you. Glad to engage with you. First of all, I'll start by apologizing profusely. It is unlike us to have our delays, but then we have technical challenges once in a while, and we're hoping that we'll make the best of it. And therefore, for the learning that we're going to have today, it's a matter of understanding what are the pharmacovigilance requirements for in Zambia, and what is the regulatory framework of it, and how does that work in this ecosystem. We had a challenge. Our facilitator for the session is actually based in Zambia, and there's a lot of rains at the moment in the country. At least we are hopeful that we'll have food, which is good for us. But then from a technological standpoint, with all the struggle that we're dealing with, we'll try to see how we make the best of this session. With that said, before I bring you in, Lonsa, I'll just have a conversation with the guys and give everybody an overview of what we do as African Pharmaceutical Network. And with that overview, then we can get into the conversation. You need to at least know the people in the house. So from an introductory standpoint, those who have not introduced themselves, I'll encourage you to please, please, please continue introducing yourself in the chat. And one thing that we love is that as an organization, as an institution, one of the key things behind the name is it is a network. And a network is made of people. Being made of people, then the question you ask yourself is, how do you get to connect with the person next door who might know something you don't know, who might be of value to you in one way that you don't even know that existed? So let us make the best of this opportunity to know each other, to network, to engage as much as we can, because then we are opening possibilities. That person who doesn't know about the regulatory requirements in Zambia, you're meeting somebody from Zambia in this call today, which means the next time that you want to do something, you know somebody to reach out to. That is the value of these networks and these conversations that we are facilitating for you. So take advantage of it. Let it not pass you by when you're still not using the social media tools that we have. That is the essence of technology. And so we hope you make the best of it. With that said, I'll be bringing up my screen. And as I do that, just let me know when you can see it, Juliet. And anybody, you can give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen so that I'm clear and we're sorted.
Yes, it is up.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So yes, my name is Odhiambo David. I'm a pharmacist by profession, currently serving as the Executive Director, African Pharmaceutical Network. And for this particular context, my responsibility and my role is mainly to, one, introduce you to what African Pharmaceutical Network is, what we do, and why we do it. Then after that conversation, I will hand you over to Luensa, who will be giving you an overview of what the pharmacovigilance regulatory requirements in Zambia are. Why did we have this? I will just let you know that we had this conversation by the virtue that there's a growing focus on strengthening regulatory systems in the continent of Africa. And that is on the basis that we have to guarantee that every single patient in the continent has safe, effective, and quality medicines to address their healthcare needs. That is the core and the foundation of all the work that is happening. And that means in case of any safety concerns, can we monitor them? Can we respond to them? Can we address them when they do happen? It's critical. So from a pharmacovigilance standpoint, regulators are in strengthening their oversight and responsibility, but also mandating it for other stakeholders like healthcare professionals, industry stakeholders, that is marketing authorization holders and licensed technical representatives and all that, to ensure that we have robust systems. And that is key and that is fundamental for the work that we're doing. So stay tuned. We'll make the best of this. So from an African Pharmaceutical Network, we are an organization that was founded in 2020. That is during the COVID period. And the essence of it for us was, can we establish a common platform that brings together different stakeholders from different walks of life, but with a common interest and a common commitment to the pharma and life science industry in Africa? And why was this important? Knowledge sharing. When I look at that survey that we did at the initial inception, 57% of us also don't know about the regulatory requirements in Zambia. And I saw there's a point that actually it was getting to 64%. If you don't know about the requirements, there's no way you will implement them, and therefore there's a risk to the patient and the population that in that ecosystem. Our mission and our mandate as an organization is to make it easier and possible for you to know what's happening in the different pockets of the region in the continent where you have an interest, either as a practitioner offering healthcare services, as an industry player who is bringing new products to the market, or as a stakeholder who has an interest in contributing to making the systems work better for all of us. That is key for us. We understand that the industry is regulated and regulations are founded on policies. Policies look at what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and how do we harness the possibilities and again get the gains, but at the other side, mitigate and minimize the risks. And therefore, can we contribute to that by giving new insight and new information, but shaping policies and ensuring that the policies are creating a conducive business environment for all of us? And the last piece, innovative partnerships, and therefore, what kind of collaborations, what networks can we have? And I've told you, LinkedIn is your best bet. People are in this call from different countries, different expertise, whichever company that you're introducing yourself with, reach out to that person. They might be the partner that you're hoping for in that country that you're aspiring to get into based on your strategy for the year. Make the best of that. And I'm hoping you make the best of it. If you don't make the best of it now, you still feel to reach out to us as African Pharmaceutical Network, where we can facilitate an engagement. We will be more than glad to make that a possibility. In the continent, why is this important? We have limited local manufacturing, segregated and disjointed ecosystems and player verticals, which we have to integrate them and see how do we get value for it. Most of the times when I talk to people in the pharma value chain, people talk about lack of access to funding. But then when I talk to funders and banks and investors, they're saying, we have funding, but nobody is giving us the deals that we're looking for. So then how do we bridge that gap? And I would say these kind of conversations bring us closer to what we aspire for, and it helps us actually unlock that value where we need it and how we need it. Our mission is clear, ensuring there's reliable access to safe, effective, and quality health products and technologies in the continent. And we do this through our investments in workforce development. Almost every one of you knew about our training programs and our academic initiatives. Please, for those who don't know, get to know about that and get to engage with us and actually patronize our services and our products as we're building more courses to ensure that we have a competent workforce within the industry to deliver on these aspirations. Beyond training, we have business advisory services, which is more about consulting, whether you need a local technical representative, pharmacovigilance oversight in some of the markets. We have our own internal panel of technical experts across the different regions who will be more than glad to offer their services and support you in that journey. And the last piece is the policy advocacy and market shaping work. You have constraints from a business standpoint, constraints in terms of healthcare practice. And I know we've had a conversation with one of our colleagues and actually even our lead presented today around the essence of having ethical practices and regulated premise practice in the community pharmacy level. How do we make that a reality? And there's a conversation we have to make that possible. In the continent of Africa and globally, one of the key things when we were starting off, we told ourselves we have to be anchored in some way on what we do, how we do it, and where we do it. And that is important. Where we decided it's going to be in Africa, we're going to build it with Africans within Africa for a difference and for an impact in the continent. But then the values on how we are going to do it, we distilled and actually agreed on 5 core values of our work. One is humanity. Before everything else, before I became a pharmacist, before I serve as an executive director in African Pharmaceutical Network, we are human beings. I am a human being. We have to respect each other, be considerate, value the diversity in perspective, and even here somebody will present something that you might not disagree, might not agree with. The respect, the humanity that comes with that is that we treat each other with kindness and empathy in all that we do. Because if we are humane enough in our conduct, we are making the world a better place. And that is our hope and our aspiration for the period that we are here. We make the best of that. Number 2 is integrity. We have to do the right thing because by doing the right thing, we demonstrate a different ways of doing things, and there's consistency and integrity that becomes a fundamental part of that. We don't do it because it is what is convenient, but we do it because it is the right thing to do. Tell the truth, don't take or offer bribes, and guard your reputation with all you've got, because ultimately the only thing you've had and actually you have control over is that reputation that you have as a professional, as an individual in what you do. We are professionals. Some patient somewhere will entrust you with their life, and that is why they'll buy your product. That's where they'll come to your pharmacy, they'll come to your clinic, they come to your medical lab, whatever it is. Professionalism is what they trust you for. We must uphold our professional standards of conduct and aspire to inspire professionalism in the industry in every facet of it that we engage. Whether you're dealing with medical devices, technologies, medicines, and all that, professionalism is core. The fourth one, client value creation. When you're here, we commit to offer value to you, and we try as much as possible to give that value, because we need to understand what are your challenges, what capabilities do we have, and how do we link them. When we're able to solve your problem, we are successful, because then you can do your job in a better way in getting the products to the patients who need them. And that is the success that we're all aspiring for. When we don't have capacity, we're more than glad to refer you to somebody else who can support, or look at how to build that capacity to serve that need for you. And the last piece, teams. The network is a network of individuals and professionals across different walks of life. And if we harness our individual capabilities and strengths, we make it better for all of us. So those 5 key things become our key values and the core values that ground us on what we do as an organization. This is our journey. 2020 to 2026 now. We started by facilitating this conversation, which have still been ongoing and still things that we are going to do for as long as we can to ensure that everybody has insights on what they need to be able to contribute. So that was the foundation of Pillar. We got registered in 2023, and in the same 2023, we rolled out our training program that we've said you've known as at least 92% of you already know about. The other services that we have is the business advisory that I've talked about. That is the regulatory support and business ecosystem support, and even market research and patient access program management in different markets, depending on where we have that capability and footprint. So if you're interested in having conversation with us, reach out to us and let's have a conversation. For the professional certification courses that we do have, these are the 3 ones. Regulatory affairs, which is looking at the regulation of how products and technologies across the continent in different packets and across medicines, biological products, cosmetics, and borderline products. We have medical device and technologies, clinical trial management, clinical research, regulatory affairs. And then ultimately we get to the regulatory intelligence part and some of the emerging trends, especially around the African Medicines Agency, which is key. Our trainings for cohort 1 of 2026 have just started last week. So for those who are still interested, you can enroll by end of next week. After next week, we are not taking any new members into the cohort so that we finish the course then, but you can join us in the subsequent cohort starting in May. So that's good to declare here and just communicate it. These are some of the partners we've worked with and we still work with in different pockets. So from IFPMA, Professional Industry Association, professional associations, research and development partners, academic institutions, and corporate organizations who are part of that chain. With that said, I now come to the end of it. And for those of you who are interested, connect with us on LinkedIn. You can contract us for any of your needs. You can partner with us to deliver projects. And most importantly, you can learn with us to build your skills to be able to deliver comprehensive, valuable services to the people you engage with as an organization in your professional pursuits. So with that said, I'll take the opportunity to invite and actually introduce our facilitator for the day. That is Professor Mulenga Lonsa, who is a pharmacovigilance specialist and WHO Accra Fellow. He's a seasoned healthcare practitioner with over 22 years of professional experience across sub-Saharan African countries, with special focus on Zambia, Namibia, South Sudan, and Tanzania. He's a specialist in pharmacovigilance and a WHO Accra Fellow with extensive expertise in medicine safety monitoring and regulatory system strengthening. His work in identifying and reporting adverse drug reaction associated with the stavridine, which is a HIV management molecule, contributed to the evidence base that informed the WHO's decision to withdraw stavridine as a first-line therapy during the early antiretroviral therapy pilot program in Namibia, serving as a model for the Southern Africa Development Cooperation region in terms of strengthening pharmacovigilance system. So at least, one key thing in pharmacovigilance is the reporting, the analysis, and the actual evaluation of those signals to determine regulatory actions is the decision whether we are protecting more lives and ensuring quality outcomes or not achieving that. And in his case, the stavridine case is a key example. And therefore, ask yourself, whatever it is that you're doing, how are you making it better? What can you do better? With that said, I'll bring your slides up, Dr. Mulenga Lonsa, and hand it over to you to facilitate the second part of this session. Let me know when you can hear. If you can hear me.
Yes, I can, but can you hear me yourself?
Fantastically well. Yes.
Oh, perfect. You've said so many things and you've given me professorship. I think I should go for that.
I'm inspiring you for the next move.
Yeah, I think you just want to spear batter on me. Yes, for what David has spoken about, before I start with the slides, what David has spoken about pharmacovigilance is in everyday work that we do, we should involve pharmacovigilance per se. And that's how pharmacovigilance came on my table, because antiretrovirals were new molecules for almost the whole of sub-Saharan Africa in 2000s, early 2000. To come back to the whole core matter, which is the regulatory framework around pharmacovigilance, is now what I'll speak about. In any of the issues that is speaking about, yes, we can do the collaboration, but let me say this before I go away. The WHO can support pharmacovigilance systems through what they call Center of Excellency, and you can go that through the Accra Center of Excellence, where I was trained as a qualified person for that. For today's purposes, we'll speak about Zambia pharmacovigilance systems and the regulatory framework. Next slide, please. So it's regulated by the Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, which I was actually an author to the act many years ago, and then it's been revised here and there. So the Medicines and Allied Substances Act of number 3 of 2013 mandates medicine safety monitoring. So it's actually a legal requirement, meaning if you don't have a framework of monitoring the medicines that are in your custody, you're actually abrogating the legal framework. So the legal framework also ensures quality, safety, and efficiency. Next slide, please. Next slide. So through this, people are encouraged that to have the National Medicines Regulatory Authority, which I'm so happy that I started that in Namibia for pharmacovigilance. And we should oversee, the ZAMRA also oversees the medicine life cycle safety, conducts post-marketing surveillance, coordinates national pharmacovigilance. Not as they've written it there. There's so many potholes in there. Next slide, please. So pharmacovigilance mandates, the core factor here actually is, forget about the legal framework. if you're going to be dealing with a client in your facility, it's not the legal framework that's going to protect you or protect the patient. It's you, how you respond to that, and the patient, the information that you get. So ADR monitoring and reporting is crucial. So anything that the patient writes, please write it down. As you go forward, you're going to find maybe there will be a pattern, maybe there's going to be a consistency, which can lead you to so very many ways that you can do apply now from business principles. It will reduce signal detection, risk assessment and management, regulatory safety actions. I'll tell you one thing. When I was doing the training in at Accra, where there was a situation where just after the mass immunization with the deworming, mass deworming, so there was an issue about a report that came, and they said, well, 3 kids have died after they took the anti-worm medicines. So I was there, and then the center was actually tasked to find the cause, if it was the anti-worm medicine or whatever it was. But in the end, after careful ADR monitoring, signal detection, risk assessment and managing, we found that actually it was not the medicine that caused that. Rather, it was an accident that banged into the school wall fence, and the school wall fence fell on the children. So without having such information, it becomes very delicate for you health care workers. So if you're going to go for mass immunization, whatever it is, try and put the pharmacovigilance team up front. The fourth point we speak about is regulatory safety actions. That's what is also under ZAMRA. Kindly, next slide. Next slide. All right, so who should report? I'm going to throw it to you, colleagues of mine. Is it the doctor, the nurses, the pharmacist, the patient, or whoever it is? Who does pharmacovigilance touch? The pharmacovigilance touches that one who's going to give that medicine to the client. So you should be able, and the reaction that's going to happen is going to happen to that patient right in front of you. So do not wait for ZAMRA to start. Well, let me first send the report to ZAMRA and then I'll respond to the patient. No, that's not appropriate. So that's why we're talking about risk management and everything. Health facilities are tasked to have the pharmacovigilance unit. What is transpiring in Zambia is that there is a so-called therapeutics committee, where most of the time they are speaking about procurement of medicines rather than the professional engagement. So we should encourage the pharmacovigilance to be quite prominent in the health facilities, quite prominent in the retail pharmacies, quite prominent even in the communities. And I'm speaking about the communities because we have communities that are faith-based, the ones that are doing palliative care. Unfortunately for me, I've trained some of the palliative care centers in Tanzania, and they took up the pharmacovigilance appropriately. Manufacturers, it should be read, we should read the riot act to them that they should have the pharmacovigilance unit at all costs, because they are the ones that are going to produce these medicines, so they should be responsible. Coming back to patients and consumers, we should have that drive to educate the rights of the patients, the rights of the consumers in response to anything that may be untoward to what they're taking. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what should be reported? There's always a flurry of questions about adverse drug reactions. Let me say anything when a patient interacts with that molecule. So let's say we're going to call it a drug event, for example, a drug event rather than adverse drug reaction. Drug reaction is when we come to start now assessing all these things about such things. Otherwise, the patient might not be able to. But if you look at the inset of any medication, is all potential areas that are there. Let me say this, and I think this is important. Those are not exclusive. Just like I was looking at Stavridine. They speak about some things on the fringe, but when you take them to the market, you should be able to see some of the issues. Another of those was efavirenz and spinal bifida, which we started seeing quite a lot. And of course, interesting dreams when you take it. It doesn't remove that drug from use. It tells us to take precautions as we use it. Medication errors, these are quite common nowadays, as everyone is a doctor. You go to the market, they speak about this and that. So if you're a healthcare worker, try and intervene in a very, very nice way and educate people about that. How do I do that myself? I have a radio program which is called The Doctor's Diaries, where I get the radio, they call in and then we discuss. SAMRA, who are the regulatory authorities, what we do. Product quality problems, these are expected, so we should be on the lookout for them. We are going to sell them to the customers. Therapeutic ineffectiveness, this one and the product quality problems are actually married. If you bring out a product that those quality is not up to standard, forget about effectiveness. Next slide. The ZAMRA has got report channels. If you get to their website, they keep on changing. Now we are getting also European support. So it's aligned to European thinking rather than the WHO. The WHO, I think, is the golden standards that we should always follow, which in many countries they do. So ZAMRA has got an online portal where you can actually report that condition. The Med Safety mobile app actually is also on ZAMRA. ADR report forms, email and telephone. Now here is where the push comes to the shove. If I report online to ZAMRA, it means I would have already interacted with the patient and had a resolution to the issue. So you should not expect, if you have a problem, you tell the client, please wait, let me report this to ZAMRA. You have been a bad healthcare worker. Next slide, please. Collection of ADR reports, this should be spontaneous and let us say continuous all the time. Data validation. ZAMRA sends a form that you should complete. And please try and be clear as possible in your input the data. From there, you should be able to see a trend analysis where these things are happening a lot or not. Regulatory review, this is up to ZAMRA, the feeds that we've been communicating with you, you're not responding in time. How can we get this thing running up and running quicker so that we can have information for the clients? Next slide, please. So under MAH, we should establish safety systems, collect and assess ADRs, submit safety reports, support risk management. So actually these things that are written here, we look at them in a retrospective way as opposed to the prospective way. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of PV? I'm sure you and I will see that if we can give the proper information to our clients, it will improve the client's confidence in you. It also helps us detect rare ADR early. For example, the Stavridine, I was able to detect those things early in the pilot, and we knocked off the drug as it were. And when I went to other countries, we found that they were still using it. That's why my study in that goes from Namibia to South Sudan, and everything. So we should support rational medicine use, quite a challenge one. Strengthen public confidence. Public confidence can only be strengthened when we engage the communities regularly. Particularly, radio is so pervasive, even when you're sleeping, it will actually enter in your blanket. Next slide. Take away home messages. Pharmacovigilance is mandatory and it's a reality. Early reporting saves lives, but feedback is important from the regulatory authorities. Everyone has a role. You and I has a role. Safety is a shared responsibility at the term. Thank you very much. Next slide. Can I say thank you? I'm so pleased to speak in front of the whole lot of you. David, say hello to my friends, all of them, and give them kudos. They know where to contact me through you or my email direct, and then we can take it up from there. Thank you for your hands are going to be painful. Okay, David, back to you.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much for this, and thank you for the insights and the information that you've shared with us. Just to let everybody know, in terms of some of the key information that we agreed we're going to share with you will be the link to the respective reporting channels. That is the Zambia online portal where you can make the submissions. The Med Safety mobile app, we'll share the details on that when we are sending the slides to you after this. The reporting form, they are also available on the website, so that one you can get. The email and the telephone number for reporting purposes. That is an important piece that we need to know, especially for those who are operating and working within the Zambian market for the work that you're doing and for COVID. Maybe another thing that I would just want to mention here, for those who are distributing or supplying products in that country, the regulatory notice came in December was about having local responsible persons who can oversee your activities if you are a foreign company. And I think that is an opportunity for you to engage with people who are in this forum, to engage with them and see how can we get into that market? How can we engage to have regulatory compliance? Because unless we are compliant, we are not serving the people, because then we are in infringement of the laws of the country. So we encourage you to do that. As a marketing authorization holder, have an appointed pharmacovigilance person who will oversee the pharmacovigilance activities. That is important. Design your pharmacovigilance system, as Mlenga Alonso has mentioned here, proactively rather than retrospectively and reactively. If you planned on what the possibilities might be and how you are planning to mitigate them, you are in a better position compared to somebody who waits for them to happen and then responds to try to address them. So we encourage you to ensure that you have a proactive system. If you need support in designing your pharmacovigilance systems or somebody to walk you through the process of designing one, we are more than glad to engage and see how we can support you in that journey as an organization. With that said, I'll give you the chance to bring the screen back, Juliet, for the last part of the Q&A. And thank you everyone who is giving your feedback on the chat, introducing yourself. Let us engage, let us keep the connections growing and coming together as we move through this journey together. So over to you, Juliet. It was the next one. For those of you who are not rest, what is your rating for the session today? I'm seeing we are all 4.29 already, 26% of the responses. And I will encourage you now, by the virtue that most of us had already responded, give us a comment in the chat. What is that one thing that you wish you had during this session today? Maybe that we can cover another in a subsequent session, or something that you liked from the presentation. So please feel free to share that feedback with us in the chat. Juliet, we can move to the next one. Informative session. Engagement and interactive, fantastic. Thank you. The last one rather. can we improve on? Time of starting, I totally agree. We had a technical challenge and therefore then we had these challenges, but we plan to ensure that we make improvements in the subsequent ones. And definitely we are having another follow-up webinar in the coming days. So for any of the feedback that you need, please do let us know so that we can capture that and engage with you. The next session that Mulenga Alonso will be covering for us will be the practicalities of pharmacovigilance implementation on a day-to-day basis, especially in clinical setting, in clinical primary healthcare solutions and all that. So for those who are interested in that, we will share the information about it. Please tune in, engage with us, and be part of the conversation. Then other than that, the same line on pharmacovigilance, there'll be a webinar that we'll be hosting later on in March that will be specifically focusing on pharmacovigilance reports. What do they tell us? How do we improve on the quality of the reports that we submit? And how do we guarantee that that actually contributes to the regulatory system strengthening work that we do in the different walks of life and the different professional careers? So if you've ever thought of being a medical writer, clinical research associate in the area of work, and specifically around pharmacovigilance reporting, pharmacovigilance data analysis, there is a session that will be coming up for that, and that will be in March. So be on the lookout, engage with us on LinkedIn. If you've not been following us, this is your opportunity to engage with us so that you don't miss out on those opportunities. With that said, we come to the end of the session today. Happy, joyful Friday. Enjoyful, great weekend ahead, and make the best of it. With that said, I'll give you the last word, Dr. Mulenga. So any last remarks, any last statements before we close the call?
Yes, let me say I'm so thankful to everyone and the patience that they had, patience and tenacity to listen to us. Like David said, yes, we'll try and do better in the next session. And I think he's given me another task on how to develop surveillance systems, which I think I'm going to handle ably based on this my previous engagement and previous ability to do this even in the hospitals here in Zambia, Tanzania, especially in Namibia. So I'll share lots of things. Well, they say not all size fits all, but let us see how we can get together, see your challenges, particularly don't come to the table empty-handed and expect me to guess your challenges. Come say we want to set up a system and this is what we've done, this is where we have thick. Then I can see that, well, they have done so much, can we now pick it up? Do not be scared about vigilance. I don't expect a week. I'll get into this myself. I have to navigate later. Here I am. And I'll go for that professorship, David.
Yes, please. That is my challenge to you. This wisdom needs a professorial heart.
Well, you can say that. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And have
Every
a good one,
one of
everyone.
us, every one of us has a role to play in vigilance, particularly here in Africa. We're still in a growing phase. WHO reports vigilance from Africa are almost 0.7%. This is a sad thing when you look at how people are getting injured. Two, there's a lot of these characters with herbal medicine and all sorts of things. You know, they are complicating everything. So we should be alive to our environment, how we can make it safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Juliet, any announcements on your end as we come to the end?
For me, it is to encourage the participants who are joining us from Kenya that this event is CPD accredited by Pharmacy and Poisons Board. Please go ahead and subscribe for that. Within the next 7 days, we'll be able to issue or award you the CPD points by Monday. For those who are joining us beyond the borders of Kenya, we are going to share the certificate of participation with you. Then you can also use that to claim your CPD points at the relevant authority in your country. And I can see a question here from Heba, and they're saying, I've just been admitted to the session. Will the recording be shared with us once it's concluded? Yes, the recording will be shared with you. Don't worry about it, including the slides, that is. And that is it from my end. Thank you so much for joining us for the upcoming
Thank you, everyone, and
sessions.
have a
Please
good
go
rest
ahead
of
and
the day
register,
and a great weekend ahead.
and we'll be looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much to everyone. Adios.
Thank you, and have a good one, everyone.
But you didn't tell them that you have very good coffee there. I used to enjoy the coffee at some hotel in Nairobi each time I was coming from Cuba.
There's going to be coffee.
Yeah, you should.
Juliet, you need to serve us our copy.
You should sell some of them. Scott Africa.